Despite being 40 days away from the NBA's opening night on October 18th, some of the NBA's brightest stars appear to be in midseason form as they play for their countries in EuroBasket 2022. Now, on Tuesday, Luka Doncic and Giannis Antetokounmpo both went off. Luka dropping 36 for Slovenia against Germany, while Giannis scored 41 points for Greece versus Ukraine, the most points in a EuroBasket game since Dirk had 41 in 2001. Take a listen to Luka after those games.
You say who's going to score the most points in one game? I would bet on Giannis. Why? Why? Because he's Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Humble on the mic, but less than 24 hours later, Luka topped Giannis, scoring 47 points in a huge win over France yesterday, the second most points ever scored in a EuroBasket game. And that got some people on our show talking. Who do you expect to have the best season this year, Brian?
This was a vintage performance from Luka today. He's going to do this throughout the NBA season. He's going to have a great chance to get that first MVP.
Mark, you agree?
Yeah, I actually do agree with Brian for once.
Are we going to go three straight? Are you agreeing with Luka as well, Mo?
I picked him last year. I haven't decided this year, but I think he should be in there.
And we'll hear from Brian again in just a bit, but we're now joined by Matt Barnes and Chiney Ogwumike in studio. And look, you guys both weren't a part of that international debate we had yesterday, but we'll be able to get, plenty of your thoughts in just a bit. But before we get to that, we got to get us some actual basketball action. I want to show you because Giannis had a chance to try and one-up Luka this morning as Greece took on Estonia. And in the first quarter, take a look at this vicious dunk.
I like that sign.
It was a good one.
Yeah, it's very nice. Oh, my goodness.
Mid-season form in the summer. That's scary.
Is that that's like playoffs. That's finals. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's just all the time.
And that's just consistent.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything.
And look, no help defense. Business decision.
Business decision. I was just about to say business decision.
I love it.
They know about going viral over there.
Oh, okay. And we put it on a poster.
Oh.
I mean, like over the box, over the square.
Just the length. The length. And now, end of the first, Kostas Antetokounmpo with the block, and on the other end, Giannis with the dunk, little brotherly connection.
You know I love some sibling hoops, okay?
Yes.
This is like giving me everything, giving me life. I love the mix. I mean, look at that stats, 25 points, 9 for 10 field goals in the first half.
But stuff like this, games like this are great for people like Giannis because he does everything in the NBA, but you really get to do everything when you're playing in games like this and really work on some of your deficiencies come regular season for the NBA.
And also give something to international fans.
But here's the thing. Bucks fans were holding their breath here because as he was driving to the rim, he would go down after contact in a bit of pain, testing out his ankle on the sideline. He would not return to the game with an apparent ankle injury. It was kind of a blow-up at that time. He also had his knees heavily iced up, a little bit of a limp after the game. Greece would win 90-69, but as you saw, just a noticeable limp.
Be all right.
Very taped out. Yes, that's what his head coach said after the game. All good. And despite his night being cut short, Giannis, his 25-point performance helped him finish the group phase as the leading scorer of the EuroBasket tournament at 29.5 points per game. A couple other NBA players are near the top. Luka Doncic is third, and Lauri Markkanen is fourth. I now want to bring in ESPN senior writer Brian Windhorst as we go for a wide. And look, so Giannis's ankle injury was diagnosed as a mild sprain, but with his injury today and Luka playing a little banged up in yesterday's game, Brian, what are your thoughts with the NBA's brightest stars playing in this tournament so close to training camp getting underway?
The teams really don't have a choice, Cassidy.
Right.
I mean, I think 10 or 15 years ago, teams tried to have some control there. Players of this level, when they want to play for their national teams, they're going to play for their national teams. And I'm actually pretty surprised and impressed that Giannis is playing. I watched him in person in China last time he played for the Greek national team 3 years ago. It was a miserable experience. The way the rules are set up in FIBA, it allows players to get in front of him and bait him into charges. He was fouled out of his last game there, and he was so frustrated. I wondered if we were headed for a Tim Duncan situation. 20 years ago, Duncan threw up his arms and said, I can't take the way these games are officiated. I'm done playing international basketball. But Giannis comes back and plays. Now, there are Bucks officials with him. They will keep an eye on that ankle and make sure everything is fine. But Giannis is doing what we know Giannis can. He's probably the best player in the world, if not the second best player. He's dominating there. He's also shooting 85% from the line, which Bucks fans will love to hear, and 16% from three-point range, which Bucks fans won't, but don't worry about Giannis. He's doing great.
Yeah, I didn't hear any countdowns from the crowd during that game. But look, both of you guys in studio here with me nodded your heads when Brian said, you know, they don't really have a choice. But I want to kind of get your perspective, as you both had to get ready for long seasons. As players, what are your thoughts on playing in these off-season tournaments? And Chiney, I want to start with you.
Yeah, as someone who's played overseas, and I'm currently trying to play for the Nigerian national team, I think the perspective is a lot of times you think, oh, it's so close to the season. To them, this is a huge point of pride.
Right.
You know, this is even bigger than, quote unquote, like, you know, the NBA per se, because this is just something about legacy. This is about, you know, you were born this way and then you are able to compete at a high level and just galvanize a country. So to them, it's bigger than your day-to-day job, which happens to be NBA that pays you multiples of millions. But the reality is, when I look at Giannis, I just love what he does. I mean, look at wherever he goes. You've seen on social media, all the Antetokounmpo brothers, how much fandom is there, and I think it's a good showing for them to compete. I would not necessarily be so worried about competing at this point, because a lot of players in the NBA are right now ratcheting up their workouts, you know, getting ready for these training camps and these experiences together collectively as teams. This is a good tune-up. I think the important point here is you need to get some rest before the season starts, right? So finding some time to get some rest. I have no problem with playing games at this point. I mean, the WNBA is about to go straight into World Championships. No problem with playing games. I think making sure he's rested and is smart with his movements, because I bet you he still wants to play. Like, that's not even going to be a problem.
I think Chiney obviously hit it. It's just pride. And that's something you can't necessarily speak to unless you're a European player, and what it means to represent your country. And for Giannis to really get a chance, because obviously he's on the biggest stage in the NBA, gets to do his thing every single night. Rarely does he get a chance to really get hardcore minutes with his brother representing his country.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.